Hi.
Jim, Sarah, nice to meet you and talk about vinyl. What drew you to this story? It's an interesting story and it's based on a real, true story.
Yep, and it turns out I was born and bred in the same town, and they were then called the Toilets. The alarm were called the Toilets, and they managed my band. Our lead singer had broke his leg, so we were called the Fractures, and those guys managed us. So Mike Peters managed my punk band. So that really was pretty much like I was in.
So this really happened.
It
They
did.
really faked a band to get old rockers back in it, back
Yeah,
in
they
charge.
did. Yeah.
Why did they feel the need to do that?
Because it was a true story. Like Mike went to his old record label and said, "We've got a new single," and they said, "Oh, we're not interested." You're like the age of a grandfather, we're not interested. So he was just a bit upset, and he wanted to prove them wrong, that his music was still really good and relevant. So he got four young, really good-looking guys to mime to his record, and it went into the charts.
Wow. It's funny that we're talking on the day that a new album has come out from David Bowie, who's 66.
But what I think is brilliant about, like, the teenagers coming up now, if my nephew and his mates are anything to go by, is that it's very eclectic now. Like, when I was their age, rock and roll had only been going for about, I don't know, 40 years, 50 years or something. And now they've got that doubled, and they seem to reference all of it, and they don't have that and because of the internet as well, it's much more accessible, and their music history doesn't, it spans a lot more than it would if they just had to be relying upon marketing.
Mm. Well, the film's timely because I'm finding a lot of the mainstream music now is rather bland pap, and this music does have a very punk feel to it. The music in the film reminds me a bit of the Ramones.
Great. Well, that soundtrack was made mostly in 1976 when a lot of that soundtrack was actually originally Toilets music that was never recorded. And Mike, for this, recorded a lot of their original songs, so it really was circa 76.
Mm. So the main song, Free Rock and Roll, is that actually one of their tracks? Or was that written
No,
for
that
the
was
film?
written for the film. That
Yeah.
was
Great
written for the
track.
film. Yeah, it's great, isn't
You
it?
should release it as a single.
It is. And
Oh,
it's
it is
got
a single.
playtime again.
Oh,
And we don't
great.
even have to pretend to the press. Yeah. Yeah, it's got playtime again. And we
Who
don't even
wrote
have
it?
to...
Did Phil write it?
It was
Phil and Mike.
Phil and Mike wrote it. And Phil, I think, wrote a lot of the lyrics.
Mm.
And Mike came up with the like that catch, the hook.
Right.
And yeah, so it's got released, and no one has to pretend to be young.
Yeah, that's good.
The idea was already there, and Jim approached us with the idea. I was just on a list. I'm worried that you've only got 2 minutes. I don't want to mess up for you. How this all happened was I was on a list in Hollywood of a bunch of directors, and I was called in for a meeting because I was British and my hair was punky, and they had no idea that I was from the same town as the guy that this script was about. And not only was I from the same town, their band managed my band, and I went out with the lead singer. He was my with the bass player, not the lead singer. I promise, not the lead singer. With the bass player, he was my first boyfriend. So it was like, once they found that, I was like, what? And so then Jim asked me to write it with him because I was from there and I'd known them since I was a kid. So wrote that together, and then it kind of hung around trying to get it made, nearly got it made so many times. And then I just asked, could I just run with it? And they very kindly, John Williams, the producer, the original producer, let me run with it, and Jim let me run with it. And then we very quickly got some money together, cast the actors, and went into production. I was really lucky. I got all my first choices of actors. So Jamie was the only person we went to for this, and luckily he said yes. He didn't know any better.
Yeah, and this is your first time playing a rock star?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I kind of it was weird for me because I'd never had that before. Like, I got a phone call and just saying, "Oh, do you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, brilliant." And
Great.
it was really and it was really quick, wasn't it? And then we ended up. I remember reading it, and then like maybe a week later, I was travelling to go and do it. So it was all very quick, but Yeah, no, it's my first time being able to play a like a punk rocker, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And before even meeting Jamie, I hadn't even met him. I said, like, in the show, he's like this kid that didn't know his dad, and he's like a busker. He's got this free spirit. Could you perhaps think about a song? And he just went straight away and made this brilliant song up. And he's really talented, modest and talented.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So Phil, let's kick off with your ass. Is this your first nude scene in a film?
No, it isn't actually my first naked scene. I did a film called Nasty Neighbours where I was totally naked with someone sticking a gun to my head and having to jump out of bed. So it's the second time I've flashed me bottom, as we like to call it.
So it wasn't a butt double, that's genuinely...
No butt doubles. It's a small butt, but you know, I've never had any complaints.
And of course you're well known for being a musical actor. This is not your first time in a music-themed film.
No, you know, over the years, like theatre and music, they've all kind of been part of what I've done. So I love it, you know, because I love both things. And so for me to be, you know, lead singer in a band in a movie was natural for me to say, yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, particularly a punk band. Are you a big fan of punk?
Well, not so much. Yeah, I'm a fan of music, and I'm a fan of loud music, and not so much punk. But that's what I felt they were kind of a half punk band, a bit more clashy than quite punk, you know.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the style of music reminded me a bit of the Ramones as well.
yeah, it was a bit like that, wasn't it? You know, free rock and roll's a bit. It's a quite.
Rock and roll high school.
Yeah, it's a bit Ramoney. So it was nice to do that, really.
Yeah, it was a great song.
Yeah. So it's you know, it was nice to play again, you know.
And the theme of the music, the theme of the film, I thought was very, very interesting. How a lot of music now is aimed at young people, and they only want young people doing music. You know, it's very timely.
Yeah, well, that's what I felt, that it was a nice film in that way, that these guys are good and they can play and they can sing and they've got a contribution to make to rock and roll. And saying that they haven't, you know, just goes to prove that people are wrong, you know, and that if the music's good enough, the age is good enough, I suppose. Mm. And, you know, it's a bit anti-X Factor, I suppose, the film as well, where it's not so everything's so commercialised, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to have a dig at the whole, you know, manufactured boy band.
Yeah, which is good, you know.
Not mention One Direction, shall we?
No, but yeah, well, which is nice. It's nice that there are kids in the show, you know, who audition for the fake band or in the fake band, who are real kids, really, you know, from Wales, doing their thing, you know, which is nice. Yeah. Not manufactured.
Did you actually perform any of the numbers yourself in the film?
I think live we play one little bit where we're rehearsing live and we're a bit out of tune, so, but that's about it. I mean, musically, obviously, I did some of the work with Mike Peters, so I'm singing some of the stuff in the film and playing some of the stuff in the film.
Yeah, and how was Sara to work with?
She was great, Sara. I know her from way back. She was jolly, she was up for it, she's so enthusiastic. You've never met anybody so enthusiastic in your life, and that's what makes it work for her. She does it for nothing and makes a great film out of, you know, pennies, really.
Yeah, so was working with Sara what attracted you to the film, or was it the...
Well, Sara, Perry, Keith, really, and Jamie. Yeah, but I knew there was a lot of bad boys in it, so 6 weeks away, we could have a bit of a laugh, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.